Welcome to the Beyond Cinema studio, Corin. Congratulations, mate, on having the Hallow here and having Slash at your screening. I saw your Twitter feed; it was pretty cool.
Unreal. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, how was that? How was that feeling, like coming to Sundance, like having that whole experience by itself, and then having kind of these surreal kind of characters?
It's all a dream, you know. I mean, I finished the film only 5 days ago. I was, for the last few months, been in a dark space finishing off the visual effects and the grade, and then I came straight over, had the premiere on Sunday night in Utah, in Sundance, in Park City, and you know, just the mountains and the people, the response was incredible. And then the next day, Slash turns up, tells me it's his favourite film at the festival, so couldn't be more happy.
It's kind of surreal, it must be, anyway, for like, I mean, it's your feature debut, right?
Yeah.
And then, but there's been a lot of attention around your work. I can't imagine, like, just talk to me about how that feels. There's comparisons being made to Guillermo del Toro and stuff like this. And
crazy, you know. I mean, I'm really obviously thrilled, and I couldn't be more happy. But you know, I love what I do. I love making films. I love horror movies. I've, you know, spent a long time trying to get my first one made. I always wanted it to be the Hallow. I couldn't have dreamed of it getting into somewhere like Sundance. It's the perfect first place for it to be. And you know, the guys you mentioned are people I admire and I'm in awe of. So yeah, I'm just trying to make things I love to watch at the cinema.
Who can you credit for giving you that that kind of either the permission to be creative? Right. Is that a family member or a teacher?
I'd say my mum and dad have been very supportive all my life, of supporting me creatively, and my grandfather was a great illustrator. And then I was inspired by Ray Harryhausen and Monsters and King Kong and you know, special effects artists like Stan Winston and Rob Bottin and filmmakers when I saw Sam Raimi's films and, you know, and Guillermo del Toro and Spielberg, you know. Yeah. Just loving seeing thrilling movies at the cinema.
So you talk about your granddad being an illustrator. Did you get to watch him work? Did you get to?
Yeah.
Did you just see
I saw his work. He was a teacher and an illustrator, and he did a lot of family portraits that I grew up looking at. And then when I would draw, he would be quite critical but supportive. And he also, funnily enough, used to always draw us birthday cards and put monsters on them and fantastical creatures. And from an early age, I loved fairy tales and just sort of got in my blood.
Do you keep notebooks like Guillermo?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. I've got them all. If you want to have a look, yeah.
Yeah, personally, I'd love to see them.
Can we grab?
Yeah,
hey, can you bring us my brown bag? I'll just quickly show you a couple quickly.
Yeah, because when we met Guillermo here at Sundance, quite a few years ago now, he was still doodling and character drawing and all that sort of stuff.
I mean, this is sort
of awesome stuff.
You know, this is designs on the creatures in the Hallow, scenes from that.
Brilliant.
Scenes from the movie. Just sort of while I'm writing and developing, I'm storyboarding scenes. You know, just trying to kind of get an idea of.
So how long? What time period does this represent?
This is actually probably in about 2010 and 11. I mean, you sort of like come up with the idea and then trying to visualize what the creatures could look like, and while I'm writing it or co-writing it, trying to make sure that my sort of what's in my head comes across fluidly between the people I'm working with.
And so the people you're working with, like Joseph Mall and
Boyana,
fellow Aussie.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And do you show them all these kind of ideas when you're talking to them about joining you on the film?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, cool. Let's show the camera that way.
Well, this is going to hopefully be one of the posters I want to get made. Early days. Yeah, absolutely. I think the process of just trying to get something off the ground and get people to believe in it, especially when it's an independent situation, I have sort of sketched and put documents together to sort of sell the idea and help get the finance together, help get an actor like Joseph Mall or Boyana, sort of to show them it's not just going to be a, you know, like a kind of cheap affair. I'm going to try and put everything into it to make it look as good as possible and, you know, show the vision.
And having access to people like Joseph, who's, you know, who's one of the Starks on GOT, on Game of Thrones. And
will he ever come back?
You've got a couple of Game of Thrones.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's in Game of Thrones now. You can't not have someone, but yeah.
If you're casting out of the UK, everyone's on Game of Thrones.
Yeah, if they have,
Which is great as well I mean, because obviously it's a genre film, and then Game of Thrones is such a genre. whole kind of community as well. So to being able to kind of cross over and have that appeal and potentially draw more people in, is that something you consider? Do you consider the commercial side, or really it's all about the creative?
It definitely helps when, you know, there's a connection to, like for instance with Michael McElhatton, he's kind of known a little bit from that role in Game of Thrones, and therefore there's a perception of this kind of tough, bad guy. And in our film we're playing with kind of ambiguity, that is this guy, you know, an evil threat, or is he not? And that was part of it. And with Joe Moore, that was pure, someone I admired creatively. He's an incredible actor, and I wanted to see, you know, you don't really associate with him with a horror movie, but I wanted to take someone who has that talent and put them in the sort of centre of my movie. You know, I take inspiration from someone like Dustin Hoffman in Straw Dogs, or Sigourney Weaver in Alien.
Absolutely.
Or, you know.
Straw Dogs for me was like the automatic reference. You know?
Right.
And then I was like, wait, did you just make an anti-conservationist movie?
Not anti-conservationist, but it's certainly the idea of, I mean, what's going to happen to that forest is probably, he probably shouldn't be doing the job in the first place.
So talk to me about the forest. Like, where were you? What was the actual location?
We were in incredible far-reaching wilds of the west of Ireland, in Connemara and Galway and Spiddle and Letterfrack, and these are incredible places where these myths also exist, and people do still believe in that, have superstitions. And you know, I wanted to find the best house interior and the woods exterior. Scouted for a few months and went through 100 places, and there was only one that had this sort of cinematic scale and quality that I wanted for the movie to feel, you know, like a cinema piece. Yep. Didn't want like too small corridors. I wanted the rooms to be able to, you know, you could look from one room into another and have tracking shots. And then the actual forests themselves, we shot in 5 different forests for different set pieces, and there was sort of some that relied more on action, others that relied on a look towards, and we found out like kind of a very peculiar one, almost like a hidden forest within a forest. There was this really insane looking place which people think is a studio set, but is actually we shot for real at night in there. And we had a lot of creatures, performers in full body costumes and animatronics in the middle of the night, in the middle of a forest in the rain, and it was as kind of gritty as you get, really. And
like all those creatures, like, was such a combination of different technologies. Yeah. Was that intentional or budget?
No, it's definitely the intention. I mean, you know, as I said, a big fan of kind of practical effects and the old techniques, and now having the ability to blend them with, you know, subtle visual effects augmentation. So I wanted to do the kind of man in the suit thing, but I wanted to offset that with, you know, reduction and augmentation, putting eyeballs in and taking limbs out and squeezing things. And, you know, there's most of the shots in the film that have any kind of an effect, there's 2 or 3 techniques are kind of happening.
Kind of like a beauty magazine.
Just like a beauty magazine for monsters.
Yeah. And just finally, much has been made of the fact that you're going to be helming The Crow remake.
Yeah.
Going back to the graphic novel
sure.
for that.
Yeah.
How's that in terms of just legacy and responsibility?
A big deal for me, and I don't, you know, I don't take it lightly. I was a huge fan of the original film and the graphic novel. I was obsessed with it as a sort of 17-year-old, painted it on my bedroom wall, and I just very much feel in touch with that character, that kind of the emotional, dark aesthetic in The Crow. It was sort of my superhero when I was younger, if you call him a superhero. He's a kind of outsider, avenger, and he's you know, it's like a one-off story. So when it came up, I was, you know, very excited at the possibilities, and yeah, and going back to the graphic novel, there's lots of lovely details that James O'Barr put in, and things that haven't been used yet. Taking it from there.
Very cool. Well, it's been a pleasure getting to meet you and spend a couple of minutes with you. Congratulations again.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
great to see you.
Yeah.